Hey, Mr. Mike here, and today I'm going to share with you the top 10 songs from the year 1967 that never made it to the number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. These rankings are according to the US Billboard Year-End Hot 100 Singles as found on Wikipedia. These songs were good. These songs were popular. And these songs sold a lot of 45s. And you may have even bought some of them. But for one reason or another, they never made it to the number one spot. And for each of these 10 songs, I'm going to share with you a few bits of musical trivia about the song and or the artist that you may or may not know. And all these trivial facts will be compliments of Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. But before we get into today's video, I hope you will give this video a thumbs up and you'll share it with your friends, and new subscribers to this channel are always welcome. Love to have you aboard. First, let's go through the 19 songs from 1967 that did make it to the number one spot and their year-end rankings according to the US Billboard Year-End Hot 100 Singles. Ready? Here we go. First we have To Sir With Love by Lulu, number one. The Letter by the Box Tops made it to number two. Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry made it to number three. Windy by The Association made it to number four. I'm a Believer by the Monkees, number five. Light My Fire by The Doors, number six. Something Stupid by Frank and Nancy Sinatra, number seven. Happy Together by The Turtles made it to eight. Groovin' by the Young Rascals, number nine. Respect by Aretha Franklin, number 13. Kind of a Drag by the Buckinghams, number 16. Incense and Peppermints by the Strawberry Alarm Clock, 23. Ruby Tuesday by the Rolling Stones, 24. Love Is Here and Now You're Gone by the Supremes, 26. The Happening by the Supremes, number 29. All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, 30. Penny Lane by the Beatles, 55. Daydream Believer by the Monkees, number 94. And our last number one hit song for 1967 is Hello Goodbye by the Beatles. And it did not even rank in the top 100 for 67. These were the 19 songs from 67 that hit the number one spot that kept other good songs from becoming a number one. We saw some gaps in those rankings, didn't we? So let's fill them in with the top 10 charting songs from 1967 that were good, but not quite number one. Are you ready? Let's go. Our first top song in 1967 to never hit number one on the charts is Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Frankie Valli. Did you know that Frankie Valli's real name is Francesco Stephen Castelluccio? Neither did I, but I do now, and so do you. Valli had 9 top 40 hits as a solo artist. He scored 2 number one hits with the songs My Eyes Adored You in 1974 and Grease in 1978. Many other groups and bands covered this song years later, but none did as well in the U.S. as Frankie Valli's version here in 1967. This song was the overall number 10 song for 67 and made it to number 2 in July of that year, only to be topped by Windy by The Association.
God, I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you.
Our second top song in 1967 to never hit number one on the charts is Little Bit of Soul by The Music Explosion. This five-member band hails from Mansfield, Ohio. This song, Little Bit of Soul, was written back in 1964 by British songwriters John Carter and Ken Lewis. I think many music enthusiasts can recognize that opening guitar riff, right? Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Yeah, great riff. But for the Music Explosion, it was their only top 40 hit song. But for a one-hit wonder, the song was the overall number 11 song for 1967 and made it to number 2 in July of that year, only to be topped by Windy by The Association. Our third top song in 1967 to hit number 1 is I Think We're Alone Now by Tommy James and the Shondells. According to James, listen to this. According to James, it was this song that invented bubblegum music. Well, that's a matter of opinion, Tommy. I don't think so. The only band members to play on this song were Tommy James and Eddie Gray, who played the guitar. Studio musicians were used as the rhythm section instead. The remaining Shondells did provide background vocals for this song. And we're all familiar with the cover of this song by who? Yeah, Tiffany, 20 years later in 1987. Her video was recorded in 4 different shopping malls in Utah. This song was the overall number 12 song for 1967 and made it to number 4 in April of that year. Our fourth top song in 67 that never made it to number 1 is I Was Made to Love Her by Stevie Wonder. The song was written by Stevie Wonder and 3 others. Ready? Motown songwriter Sylvia Moy, producer Henry Cosby, and a lady by the name of Lula Mae Hardaway, who was Stevie Wonder's mother. Lula Mae also co-wrote Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours for her son Stevie. I Was Made to Love Her reached number 5 in the UK, making it Wonder's first top 10 hit in that country. This song was the overall number 14 song for 67 and made it to number 2 in July of that year, only to be topped by Light My Fire by The Doors. Our fifth top song in 67 that never made it to number 1 is Come Back When You Grow Up by Bobby V and the Strangers. Bobby V, whose real name is Robert Thomas Villini, was born in April of 1943 in Fargo, North Dakota. V was best known as a solo artist. But on this recording, Bobby V and the Strangers are credited. Well, truth is, that was merely the record label giving a band name to the studio musicians who worked that day on this recording. Heck, they could have been called The Shoes, for all we know. The song was the overall number 15 song for 67 and made it to number 3 in September of that year. Come back when you grow up, girl. You're still living in a paper doll. Our sixth top song in 67 to never hit number 1 on the charts is Sweet Soul Music by Arthur Conley. This song was written by Arthur Conley and Otis Redding. And what singers and songs are mentioned in the lyrics in this song? Lou Rawls singing Love's a Hurtin' Thing, Sam and Dave singing Hold On, I'm Comin', Wilson Pickett singing Mustang Sally, and Otis Redding singing Fa 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 Fa, or something like that. Arthur Conley does it a whole lot better than I do. And Conley begins the song by saying he's going to a go-go, which just may be a reference to a song by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Going to a Go-Go. And to get the record straight, none of these black artists were on Motown. This song was the overall number 17 song for 67 and made it to number 2 in May, only to be topped by The Happening by the Supremes. Our 7th top song in 67 that never made it to number 1 is Expressway to Your Heart by the Soul Survivors. This was the only song from this Philadelphia-based band to crack the top 10. One other song, Explosion in Your Soul, did reach number 33. In the 70s, the group disbanded. So, what happened to the 4 original members? Charlie Ingwe became a landscaper. Richie Ingwe became a house painter. Paul Venturini became a restaurateur. And Joe Forgione owned an auto body shop. And sometimes that's just life after rock and roll. Well, this song was the overall number 18 song for 67 and made it to number 4 in November of that year. Now you won't look in my direction on the expressway to your heart, that expressway. Our 8th top song in 67 that never made it to number 1 is Soul Man by Sam and Dave. Sam and Dave are Sam Moore from Miami, Florida, and Dave Prater from Osceola, Georgia. These two artists met working in the gospel music circuit and later in small clubs in Miami during Amateur Night in 1961. The song Soul Man was written by Isaac Hayes and David Porter. Many bands covered this song, including, probably the most famous, the Blues Brothers. Yeah, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd in 1979. In 2010, Rolling Stone magazine named this song number 463 in the top 500 greatest songs of all time. Well, Mr. Mike would have placed it at 462. This song was the overall number 19 song for 67 and made it to number 2 in November of that year, only to be topped by To Serve With Love by Lulu. Our 9th top song in 1967 to never hit number 1 of the charts is Never My Love by The Association. Never My Love was one of 5 top 10 hit songs by The Association, along with Cherish, Windy, Along Comes Mary, and, you know the 4th one? Everything That Touches You. In 1999, Broadcast Music Inc., BMI, announced that this song was the 2nd most played song on radio and television in the 20th century in the United States. The lead vocals on this song are provided by Terry Kirkman and Larry Ramos. So, is The Association a 6-man band? Or is it a 7-man band? Well, the truth is there have been 41 different singers and musicians who have been a part of this band over the years. This song was the overall number 20 song for 1967 and made it to number 2 in November of that year, only to be topped by The Letter by the Box Tops.
Never mind love, never mind love, never mind love.
Our 10th and final top song that I'll be covering here in 1967 that never made it to number 1 on the charts is Apples, Peaches, Pumpkin Pie by Jay and the Techniques. This song was written by Maurice Irby Jr., and it was first released by, ready, Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs in November of '66 with a different title, and the title was Ready or Not. This group hails from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and consists of 7 interracial members. 2 black men, Jay Proctor and George Lloyd, who are the vocalists, and 5 white men, Dante Doncho, Chuck Crowell, Carl Landis, Ronnie Goosley, and John Walsh, who play the instruments. Apples, Peaches, Pumpkin Pie sold over 1 million copies, as did their follow-up hit song, Keep the Ball Rollin', from that same year. This song was the overall number 21 song for '67 and made it to number 6 in September of that year. There they are, the top 10 hit songs from the U.S. Billboard pop charts from the year 1967 to never make it to the number 1 spot. So which one, in my musical opinion, is my top song from the 10 songs that were good, but not quite number 1? Well, let's do a recap of those 10 songs. Here we go. Ready? Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Frankie Valli. Little Bit of Soul by The Music Explosion. I Think We're Alone Now by Tommy James and the Shondells. I Was Made to Love Her by Stevie Wonder. Come Back When You Grow Up by Bobby V and the Strangers. Sweet Soul Music by Arthur Conley. Expressway to Your Heart by the Soul Survivors. Soul Man by Sam and Dave. Never My Love by The Association. And last, Apples, Peaches, Pumpkin Pie by Jay and the Techniques. Well, which one would be my favorite? Well, I'll admit, this was a tough choice. There are several songs on that list that I like, but I chose Can't Take My Eyes Off of You by Frankie Valli. It's just a good romantic song. I can feel the emotion coming from those lyrics. And Frankie sings it with such passion, and I like that. And it's on my iTunes playlist, and it should be on your iTunes playlist too. So, what about you? You're at a diner, and you have only 1 dime to spend in that jukebox. Which song would you play? Leave your favorite song in the comments below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, revisiting hit songs from 1967. Come back again when I take us through another year in rock and roll history and look at the top 10 hit songs from that year that never made it to the number 1 spot. Well, this is Mr. Mike, and I will see you next time in our next exciting episode of Good, but Not Quite Number 1. And remember, my music friends, play your music loud.